This semester, three key areas have been identified as being really helpful for me as my future career in OT. The first is community development. Community development assists ordinary people to live extraordinary lives. Through community development, these people are able to take control of their lives and hold power as a community. Community development is especially important in marginalised communities who often face obstacles receiving the care and support they need. I learned a lot from this topic. This topic invoked feelings within me that will withstand throughout my future career as an OT and a fourth year student on my practical placements. This topic made me feel like there is so much I'm yet to know about occupational therapy and the power that we can have on communities. This is especially important to me because of two reasons. The first comes from my childhood. I grew up in a small rural town, and in many instances I witnessed the lack of community development, often resulting in feelings that needs weren't being met. The second comes from a service trip that I participated in to Cambodia. Here I noted the extreme occupational injustice of the people who were occupationally alienated and deprived of much of the population. Until I learned of the power that occupational therapy can have in this area, I realised that I can assist in the development of these marginalised people. I will explain this power through the use of ethical principles. This can be further explained through beneficence, which refers to doing good. This can be transferred to community development through the idea that by increasing the choice and confidence of the community, we are thus promoting independence and benefiting the community. Non-maleficence is the ideal of causing no harm. By assisting a community to find their problems and indicating their preferred solutions, we are ensuring that we are not causing harm to a community by making assumptions. Justice. Occupational justice, in accordance to Townsend and Wilcock 2009, referred to the right of every individual to be able to meet basic needs and to have equal opportunity and life chances to reach towards her or his potential, but specific to the individual's engagement in diverse and meaningful occupation. This implies that in assisting a community in enhancing their lives and power, we are thus providing marginalised communities with equal rights to other communities and occupational justice achievement. Autonomy refers to the capacity for independence. This is achieved through client-centered practice and assisting a community to achieve maximum control. I enjoyed the concept of community development because it has the power to assist all communities. The second topic that hit home with me was community-based rehabilitation. Community-based rehab is a strategy which strives for equalisation of opportunities for specific communities, this being people with disabilities and their community. The strategy works to increase inclusion in occupational roles and tasks for this community and reduce statistics surrounding poverty. This topic was where I made the true connection between wanting to assist marginalised communities and occupational therapy. OT can have a key role in this area through reducing stigma and discrimination through a client-centred regime. Client-centredness in this context refers to the entire community's power to define their problems and self-identify their preferred solutions to these problems. It is an important note that OTs are there in a supportive role. We are there to guide and question, but not to take autonomy from the community. The community have the occupational justice to take their own decisions and that benefit their well-being. This is especially important to me for both two reasons I have provided for community development, but also because I grew up with an auntie with a disability. She faced a large amount of stigma and discrimination from the community in the small town that I grew up in. Having this knowledge about the community-based rehabilitation, it means that this stigma in communities with people with disabilities, like my auntie, can be reduced and community-based solutions can be put in place. The third topic that hit home with me was emotional intelligence. Upon learning about emotional intelligence, I've been able to relate each of the 5 key components to how I can be the best student on practical placements and the best future occupational therapist I could be. The first is self-awareness, which is the ability to recognise one's own and others' moods. I can achieve this in practice by ensuring I understand how I am feeling and using my clinical reasoning to determine whether my personal feelings are affecting my actions. I can also ensure that I am aware of others' emotions, recognizing how people are feeling and adjusting my emotions appropriately. The second is self-regulation, which is all about thinking before speaking. I can achieve this by having empathy and responding appropriately to others' emotions, such as peers, colleagues, and clients. Third is motivation, which is an area that I am very passionate about. It's about capacity to overcome obstacles, learn, and self-improve through the use of initiative and commitment. I could use this by taking on criticism from my supervisors on practical placements, setting goals on track and in my future career as an OT, and committing to what I say with colleagues, peers, and clients. The fourth is empathy, which relates to a person's capacity to understand and relate to others' emotions. I can definitely utilise this skill in my fourth year pracs and as a qualified OT. I can do this by being able to cope with another person's sadness/hardship. This may come from clients, peers, or colleagues. In order for me to have this skill, it is imperative to be self-aware of my own emotions. Once I understand my emotions, my capacity to understand others' emotions will only improve. The final one is social skills. Social skills are something that most people possess, even in their most basic nature. I believe that my social skills in the casual experience are strong. However, in a professional context, this requires an entirely new skill set. It will mean combining all previous skills in order to engage appropriately with clients, their family, and professional team. So my group's community-based rehabilitation and community development project was based on the premise of assisting youth who have undertaken long-term stay in foster care to have the employability skills and knowledge in order to find meaningful employment post-schooling. If I was in a leadership position and was in charge of this aspect of the project, I would look into adding on an education aspect to foster carers and school teachers, which would regard the promotion and education of meaningful employment post-schooling and the provision of quality knowledge. I believe that this is an important area to address because these learning principles can be enforced both at school and in the home environment. There is less likely to be an unemployability epidemic within foster care youth. I would address this education need by targeting the program to both children in the foster care system and create courses that address foster carers specifically. This may also be beneficial in the creation of more stable and loving home environments for these youth, where the needs of children and carers are being met. So 2 key areas that I need to work on in my leadership skills. The first is problem resolution and managing conflict. I am a person who will often have difficulty when there is a problem. I often shy away because the potential of conflict is a scary situation for me. As a result of this shying away from a problem when it first arises, the problem usually becomes more difficult to manage and conflict arises. This is an area that I need to work on as a leader. I can achieve this by using my external and internal awareness skills to determine when the problem arises. It is also important in this instance to have a strong collaborative team who can advise me of any potential problems that arise so that they are able to be dealt with ASAP. This collaboration with the team can be achieved through a level of trust, respect, and friendship between team members. I need to overcome my concerns regarding managing conflict by having more confidence in myself, being able to talk candidly with my team, and make the best decisions possible. I need to remember that opposition and disagreement is in our human nature, and it is very unlikely for everyone within a team to share the same beliefs. Therefore, problems are inevitable, but it is how we deal with them which decides whether conflict arises or not. Finally, decision making and lack of decisiveness. Something I've always struggled with is making decisions. I will often be the kind of person to go with majority and make my decision based on the advice of others. Although the advice of others is incredibly important, their advice should not be the root cause of my ultimate decision. They should simply be contributing opinions that guide me towards the right decision for me. As a leader, it is important to be decisive because ultimately, once you have made a decision, it is final and the results of that decision are something that you will be responsible for. Therefore, it is important to own your decisions, weigh the odds carefully, and make the best decision for the team and the project. Inevitably, living with consequences of that decision is an essential part of being a leader. It is also important to remember that in some cases, decisions are reversible and can be later changed. This is where we can learn from our mistakes using motivation skills to overcome obstacles.